Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I can see we've got quite a lot of people in attendance, and today we are going to be discussing 5 of the greatest rail journeys on earth to do with Railbookers. So before we get started, if you have a pen and paper handy, please take note of our reservations telephone number. It's just at the bottom of the screen there, along with our website. So the number is 1300 938 534. And our website is railbookers.com.au. Now, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, you can pop them into the question box below. I will provide you all with an answer at the end of the presentation. I will try and get through as many questions as possible. And also, we have some handouts available for download, so you can download those from the box as well. They've got information on the European rail maps, as well as our flexibility policy. So just to kick off with, my name is Charlene Wright. I'm actually one of the business development executives here with Railbookers, and I'm going to talk about a little bit about what we do as a business, but also those itineraries I promised. So just as a rundown of what we will cover in today's presentation, well, obviously we will go through those 5 of the greatest rail journeys on earth, and I'm going to speak from experience here because I'm actually lucky enough to have gone through more than half of them so far, and the others are definitely on my bucket list. So I'm going to talk through a little bit about how you can experience them for yourselves on your next holidays. We'll also take a look at the rail accommodations in Europe, and also how the European rail operators have been adjusting to the current situation and how they're providing that safe environment for you all. And excitingly, I will let you know about some limited time offers we have running. Now, to kick off, obviously, we are the Yankee leisure group of brands. We've been around for over 40 years, but you're most likely to know us by the actual brands there. So we have Amtrak Vacations, which covers off the US, and also Railbookers, which really covers off the rest of the world. In doing so, we have those connections with all of the rail operators. So, you know, we do the Via Rail vacations for Canada, we do Eurostar vacations in Europe. It is a case that we really do sell the world when it comes to rail vacations, as well as Australia and New Zealand, so our backyards. Now, why do people love Railbookers? Well, we can quote you in Australian dollars no matter where you travel in the world. When you give us a call, we will always quote you in those Aussie dollars, and it's really a stress-free situation as well, because our hold time is only 3 seconds. So you get to speak to the rail experts who can instantly quote for you. And you're going to have peace of mind as well, knowing that you will be supported 24/7. We have offices located strategically across the world. That includes Sydney here in Australia, as well as the US and London. So we're able to answer all your queries and your phone calls whenever you need us. And when it comes to rail, we do offer those bucket list experiences. I mentioned a couple already that, you know, and we're going to cover some of those off later on. But, you know, whether it's going through the Garn, you know, on the Garn in Australia here, going through Alice Springs, or heading over to the Canadian Rockies and doing the Rocky Mountaineer, all of those are available for you. It gives you that freedom and flexibility as well, that you can travel when you want and where you want, and you can break the journey where and when you like. So unlike going on those coach tours and cruises, you're not locked into the start and end date for any of your next holidays. It's a very scenic option. I will go through that, but you're going to avoid the stress of driving in doing so by going with rail. And unlike flights, there's room to roam. So you can get out of your seat, you can visit the cafe, the observatory car, or stretch your legs. And of course, it's all very flexible, so you can customize your travel. We have that ability to book any time, any date, and any standard of travel, suiting whatever your budgets and wishes are. So Railbookers operates as a one-stop shop for you. It's a really easy way to travel. Like any other vacation package you may have booked in the past, our packages include everything from the rail transportation, the hotel accommodations, the sightseeing tours, the transfers, and more. And we can tailor make your holiday for you here at Railbookers. So if you see something that's similar to what you want, rest assured we can amend it as necessary. So our rail experts, and we know because we go, that's why we're the rail experts, we're happy to add on any destination. We can adjust your itinerary to make it a round trip, or we can book a trip in reverse. We also have that ability to upgrade and add sightseeing tours for you. And when we talk about customization, we also have a wide range of hotels. So 3, 4, and 5 star, we have those on contract. So if you want something different, a little bit special, maybe you want to celebrate an occasion, just let our reservations team know. They'll be able to suggest some excellent alternatives to suit what you're after. Now, as you would come to expect, European Rail has adjusted for the current conditions. So they've enhanced their cleaning protocols with equipment, and also the trains are sanitised frequently. And they've gone cashless and contactless, so that's going to limit the opportunity for any spread. And they've also adjusted the seat configurations, and that's going to ensure that social distancing. So what you'll see on the trains now is more space. There'll be social distancing reminders, and also people will be wearing face masks. That's used at the stations and also on the transportation. Now, here at Railbookers, we really can take the mystery and the stress out of rail travel for you. What we have here is a map of Europe, and all these colourful lines that you can see, they each represent a different high-speed rail line for you. They're all operated by different operators, and none of them talk to each other. So as the rail experts, we know exactly where the trains go and the best routes to recommend for you. And before we get stuck into our itineraries, let's talk a little bit about the accommodations on board rail in Europe. So many of the European trains are very similar. Generally, they have a standard and a first class. So your standard class, it's in a 2-2 seat configuration, normally has power outlets at the seat. Then you've got first class, which provides a little bit more legroom for you. It's in a 2-1 seat configuration. It provides you a little bit more of a quieter experience because there are fewer people in the car. And with first class, it often comes with a light meal or a snack. So you'll be able to enjoy yourself as you go past. And most of the trains in Europe, they run punctually and often. So with Railbookers, what we'll do as the rail experts, we'll suggest those best times, best routes, and we'll also always include a seat reservation wherever possible. So it's going to guarantee that you have a comfortable journey on board. We also do luxury trains throughout the world. So if you're looking for something special like the trip on the Rocky Mountaineer through Canada's Rockies, or the Garn, as I mentioned, in Australia, we can book all that for you. If you enjoy maybe something special, a little bit finer things in life, you want to treat yourself, you can always look at something like the Golden Eagle, which does the Trans-Siberian and the Trans-Mongolian, or you might want to upgrade to Via Rail. Now, Via Rail is the Canadian Railways. If you're going from, say, Vancouver to Toronto, you'll be able to use the Prestige class. It's really quite special. It's got its own lounges, some really spectacular cabins as well. So we can do all that for you. Now, why take the train? I've given you quite a few understandings of the benefits of catching rail, but what you're mainly going to do is going to be able to sit back and relax and take in those full views, as well as having the room to roam. So the coach image here, you can see everyone's quite cramped. They'll be struggling to look at that front window, as opposed to the image on the right, where they're really taking it easy and traveling and enjoying that scenery whilst they have a good meal. So there is no more travelling in and out of the town for hours. It's not like flying. The rail stations are all central in the cities, and you don't need to check in your luggage. You won't be doing the same on the other end. It's going to save you a lot of time, and it really comes with that level of convenience. All right, so let's kick off with some of these amazing itineraries. I mentioned 5 of the best trains in the world, and the first one, well, actually the first 2, come from this itinerary, which is the Scenic Switzerland from Zurich. It's a 9-day itinerary, and it's really taking in the best that this wonderful country has to offer. So visiting Switzerland isn't just about the destination, it's also about that journey. And the scenic trains in Switzerland are all part of the overall experience. This itinerary actually includes 2 of the 5 best trains we have in the world. So it starts off with a 2-night stay in St. Moritz. You're going to take a ride on the stunning Bernina Express train. Then you're going to have a spectacular Glacier Express train going from Zermatt, and you'll have 2 nights there. And then you'll enjoy that iconic Matterhorn mountain. and the Gornergrat Cog Railway. You'll then travel lakeside to Lausanne, and you'll have a relaxing night there before you're continuing on your journey on the Golden Pass line, and that takes you to the traditional Swiss town of Lucerne. So you'll enjoy 3 nights there. You'll have some day trips taking on the world's steepest cog railway line up Mount Pilatus, and also the highest railway line in Europe, and that's on the Jungfrau Railway. Now, the first of these highlight trains is the Bernina Express, and this is where you'll travel in a scenic, very panoramic sightseeing car. It goes from Chur and St. Moritz in eastern Switzerland down south to Tirano. So Tirano is just across the border into northern Italy. And if you've ever seen any of those spectacular pictures, like the one you got here with viaducts and going around, that's most likely you're looking at the Bernina. So it has 55 tunnels and 196 bridges, and the railway is actually declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So you'll cross through that famous Landwasser viaduct, goes from mountainside to mountainside. It descends through on the fir trees on the other side of the mountain, and then the train calls in a pretty village of Poschivo. So Poschivo and Tirano, you've got just on the Italian border there, and the train runs through that famous Brusio spiral viaduct as well. So really scenic train trip, and this is definitely the favourite when it comes to Switzerland. But there is also the Glacier Express. So this is another panoramic journey. It takes you through those Swiss Alps, kicking off in St. Moritz, and it's the playground of the rich and famous. I'm sure we've all heard of that. And it goes on to Zermatt, which is the home of the world's most photographed mountain, so the Matterhorn. So it winds past some really idyllic mountain villages and some steep rock faces. It creates such an amazing view into the deep gorges and the valleys and the glaciers there. And it really is known as Switzerland's Grand Canyon in that region. So you'll have large panoramic views and unimpeded views really to the Swiss Alps, especially those Swiss Alps. So it is a feast for the eyes, and it's followed by a feast for the palate as well. So you'll get a starter, you'll get a main course and dessert, and they're freshly prepared on board in the kitchen, and they're served directly at the sea for you. Now, this itinerary includes a couple of amazing day trips as well. I mentioned them. You've got from Zermatt, you've got Gornergrat. So Gornergrat is a cog railway. It's the highest open air railway in Europe. Has some glorious views of the Matterhorn, and it travels over some dramatic bridges, goes through some tunnels and across forests. So lots and lots of little rocky ravines and mountain lakes to view. Then you've got the Jungfrau. Now, Jungfrau is actually my favourite here, and it takes on 3 trains from the valley town of Interlaken, goes all the way up to the top of Europe, and it's over 13,000 feet high. So at the top, you get to experience a variety of activities. You've got alpine sensation, you've got this ice palace where you've got carvings in ice, the Jungfrau panorama, being able to step out into the snow, and something really special, you've got the Lindt chocolate shop up there as well, so you can fill your tummy as well as fill up your eyes on all these wonderful sights. Now, during the itinerary, you're going to have ample time along the way to explore some of the cities in Switzerland, but these are just a couple of the highlights. So you have Lucerne, and it's a really quaint old town, very much worth a wander. You'll have the glistening waters there of Lake Lucerne, and as you can see in this image here, it's actually framed by the Chapel Bridge. So it's the oldest covered wooden bridge in Europe, and you can take a little slow stroll across it, and it reveals an interior roof that's decorated by some intricate paintings from the 17th century, so quite special. Then you have Zermatt. Now, Zermatt is one of those picture-perfect villages. It's car-free. It's almost entirely surrounded by mountains, so it's a real alpine gem. Now, here is one of my personal favourites. Yes, I have been on this one. It's the Grand Norway in a nutshell. Perfect any time of year, summer and winter, always different. So you're going to get to discover the best of Norway and the spectacular Norwegian fjords on this ultimate 7-night adventure. So journey kicks off in the capital city, which is Oslo. You'll get to experience all the top attractions there in that harbour side city. Then you'll take the unforgettable rail journey to Flåm. Now, it's on the Flåm Railway. It's voted the most scenic rail journey in the world. You'll get to spend 2 nights there in Flåm. You'll see all the sights. You'll eat some delicious local cuisine, and you'll take an unforgettable journey on a safari boat through the fjord there. Then from Flåm, you'll take another scenic journey by ferry through those dramatic fjords to colourful Bergen. So that's going to have 2 days there where you'll be able to sightsee and take in the scenery. And from Bergen, then you'll return back to Oslo on the famous Bergen line for the final night in that city. So the great rail journey on this one is the Flåm Railway, so Flåmsbana. And it's a really stunning train journey it goes through, and it's the top attraction in Norway. So the train runs through some spectacular scenery. It goes alongside some mountainsides, foaming waterfalls, through 20 tunnels, and it offers some really amazing viewpoints. And for many people, just a single trip is not enough. They need to go back again, like myself. It is one of the top 10 rail journeys in Europe, according to the National Geographic Traveller magazine. But Lonely Planet Traveller went even further, and they actually named it the best train journey in the world. Now, you'll have some time to visit a few of the Norwegian gems. Firstly, that Oslo, which is the capital city. It's located on yet another fjord. Got very diverse and vibrant city there. It's got some really striking modern architecture. The impressive opera house is one I would definitely point out on the harbour there. Really special. And then you've got some great museums like the Viking Museum and also the Munch Museum. Now, Munch is an artist. He's very famous for that painting, The Scream. So if you want to see that, that's where you go. And then Flåm, well, you can see it here. It really is spectacular. It's surrounded by some green hills, some snowy peaks, and some dramatic waterfalls. Now, whilst in Flåm, you will be able to take that safari boat trip along the fjords, and you'll be able to see some diverse wildlife such as the porpoises, the seals, and the eagles. And you're also going to enjoy a really special evening. So you'll relax over a delicious dinner at the Eiger restaurant there. You've got a Viking dinner menu, and that includes 5 courses of delicious food, all local specialities, and they're also paired with 5 different beers on a plate. Now, this is a rail journey that most people do dream about. Obviously, the Venice Simplon-Orient-Express, and this goes over to Venice. So it conjures up a lot of those old romanticism for rail travel. You're going to get to journey from London to Venice aboard that iconic Orient Express and enjoy some really excellent service. So there's luxurious accommodations there. There's some really fabulous cuisine on board the train, and it's all as you pass through that mesmerizing scenery of the Swiss Alps that head into Venice. So you'll spend 3 nights then in the romantic lagoon-side paradise of Venice to round off your trip. So when you step on board, you're going to see, as you can see here, some very historic carriages. You'll uncover some real hidden gems, very glittering and timeless. So the train has long captured the hearts and imaginations of some very glamorous guests, yourself included if you go on this. So you've got 3 elegant dining carriages. They have real culinary sophistication. You've got a bar car that glows with some champagne sparkle while the resident pianist then fills the air with some sweet melodies. So real romanticism. You'll have a steward there, and he's going to be in all his blue and gold livery. He'll be able to serve you with white gloves and welcome you on board with a knowing smile. So you'll get settled down, go into your cabin. It's all Art Deco detail and French polished cherry wood, and it really is a grand voyage. Of course, you will also spend time in your start and end city, so London and Venice. Now, whilst in London, you can always set out, explore the British capital, perhaps take a river cruise down the Thames, or you can explore the city's royal heritage with a trip to Buckingham Palace. Then for your 3-night stay in Venice, you're going to get to enjoy a ride on a gondola, and you can admire all the city's architecture from the water. Then you'll be able to explore the rest of the city at your own pace. Now, last but not least, our final itinerary is the Complete Scotland by Rail. So it's a 9-day trip, and it travels from that historic capital city of Edinburgh to the rugged and dramatic coastline of the Highlands. And that's going to take in Scotland's fresh air, its ancient castles, and its rugged landscapes. So you'll take to the tracks around some of the most beautiful corners of the world, and that includes a ride on the Jacobite steam train. So here is the Jacobite. It starts near the highest mountain in Britain, which is Ben Nevis. It passes along the shortest river of Britain, which is the River Moa, and then finally arrives next to the deepest seawater lake loch in Europe, the Loch Nevis. So it is best known as the steam train that features in the Harry Potter series. So that Hogwarts Express is actually our Jacobite, and it goes through some really gorgeous Scottish villages and some silvery beaches that you may have seen in some of the films like Highlander and Local Hero. And that round trip from Fort William is definitely a bucket list rail journey. Now, as I mentioned, you're going to go through some really charming little towns. These include Glencoe, which you can see very pretty indeed, and you'll also stay up the very north of Scotland in the town of Inverness. So during your time in Inverness, you're going to get to enjoy a day trip that goes over to the Isle of Skye, and that's a real highlight of the itinerary. So you get to admire glens and mountains, views of lochs and castles along the way. You'll cross along that Skye Bridge, and you'll stop off for lunch and have some free time to explore there. And the itinerary also comes with a couple of added extras. So you've got the skip the line visit to Edinburgh Castle. You'll be able to visit St Margaret's Chapel there and buy some of the dazzling crown jewels and learn all about the key battles of Scotland's history. And then whilst you're on the Loch Ness cruise, you get to glide along the tranquil waters of the Loch Ness over to Urquhart Castle. And that's where a guide will teach you all the secrets and about the grisly past of the site. So hopefully I've whetted your appetite for some of these great journeys, and also to doubly whet your appetite, we have some really special offers. So as you can see here on the screen, we've got, save $400 per couple, save up to $500 per couple on the likes of the Classics New Zealand. But these are just the tip of the iceberg. You can always give us a call. We have lots of specials available, and you just need to inquire with our reservation staff, and they'll be able to put that all together for you. Now, of course, given today's situation, we do have a maximum flexibility offer. So with any new and existing reservations, we can change travel dates or cancel up to 5 days prior to departure without any fees. So this is in place until the 30th of September. Obviously, we're keeping an eye on things. The potential to maybe extend this out, we'll let you know closer to the date. But it will offer you that peace of mind about any future travel that you may wish to book. Now, Railbookers are really highly reviewed by our past clients, and what you can see here are just some of the testimonials we've received recently. But one of the main elements that our travellers really love is how easy we make their holidays, and that's because we offer that one-stop shop for you to book all your needs for your next trip. And as you would no doubt have gathered, I'm very passionate about my rail travel, but you don't need to take just my word for it. The Railbookers obviously have been awarded as a Rail Operator of the Year in 2019, and that's by our own trade through the Travel Awards. And we've also had great coverage through the likes of Forbes and Lonely Planet over the last year or two. Now, I will remind you, we do always run our webinars for everyone on Tuesdays, and they're at multiple times. We cover off a myriad of products and destinations. And these tend to be what is trending with our inquiries right now. So next week, we're going to be featuring the Canadian Rockies and beyond. And coming up in July, we've got 5 bucket list train holidays. So if you are interested in any of those, we will be in touch. Let us know and we'll be able to sign you up for those, and keep an eye out on your emails. Now, I will open it up to questions. I can see we've already got some coming through, which is fantastic, and I'm also keeping an eye on the time, so I will go through as many as possible just now. But first one I've got is in regards to luggage. Well, thank you, John. That's a great question. Now, luggage on board in the European trains is actually, there's no strict regime on this. What it is what you feel comfortable in carrying on board. Because you're not checking it in, you're actually taking it on board, storing it either above you in the seat or at the end of the carriages. It would be best to take what you feel comfortable with. I would suggest something along the lines of no more than 30 kilos, which is the same as it would be on a plane. That was a great question. Excellent. So I've also got a question about the weather. That makes sense. What's the best time to travel? Well, the best time in Europe to travel is really any time, but most people will go when the weather's best. So looking between May and September, which is obviously the European summer, you can get some really stunning weather through that period. And a lot of our clients do like to travel during that time. But it is up to you. Most of these trains do run year round. And if you're looking to take in maybe some snowy views, particularly in Switzerland, which is gorgeous, in Norway, you can go through November and December and maybe take in some of those Christmas markets as well. So that's a really good question. And also, if anyone is thinking of traveling, if you've got any other destinations, please feel free to throw those out. I'm happy to see what everyone's interested in terms of destinations. You can pop it in the question box. And I've got a great question here. Look, thank you, Cheryl. I'm just going to cover off about the customization. She's asked a good question about this. So the customization doesn't cost anything. It is just about the time that we put it together. We don't charge any extra for that. All of the itineraries that we've shown here today are actually independent, so they're not guided, and they're individually put together by us. So what you would be charged if you put it together piece by piece with our reservation stuff would be exactly the same as what got loaded in. All the itineraries that we have loaded on our website are actually based on what has proven popular in the past. So really good question, and yeah, any customization, we can do that for you, whether it be, as I said, round trips. We can skip over some towns, we can add extra nights, we can change the hotels, we can upgrade the accommodations to be first class seated. So anything you need, just let the reservations team know. They'll be more than happy to help. Now, other destinations. Yeah, look, someone's just come through with, I've got actually a couple of people that have mentioned this, New Zealand. And it is proving really popular as a destination. We certainly are doing New Zealand trains. We launched that about a month ago. We've got 6 great itineraries and takes in the likes of the Transalpine. We've also got our Northern Explorer and the Coastal Explorer. So if you want to know anything more about New Zealand trains, you can hop on the website, give the reservations team a call. We'd be happy to help you with those destinations. We can definitely book those for you now. Oh, wow. So definitely got some really interesting questions today. We've had, destinations popped up, and certainly you can travel further afield, and our reservation staff will be able to help you with we sell the world. And not only that, we can sell it up to 24 months in advance as well. So this is the long and short of it, 2 days to 2 years. You can book up to 2 days before you travel, or all the way out to 2 years. We have the prices and the schedules available to do that for you now. And I know that now might not be the right time for you to lock them in when it comes to future travel plans, but certainly we're here for you. So when you're ready, we're ready. And even if you have questions on your itineraries or you'd like a quote to save for later, don't hesitate to give us a call. And the photo that you have here is actually our whole team working across the world. We're all based at home right now, but we're ready for you. So we're looking forward to hearing from you. And I will wrap up now. It has been a spectacular session. If I didn't get to your questions, I do apologise, but we will have our reservation staff get in touch with you very shortly, and we'll be able to answer all those queries. In the meantime, do take care. Hopefully we will see you on an upcoming webinar. Stay safe and healthy, and have a great day. Bye.